Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. David Schwartz, who is Ripple's CTO and co-creator of the XRP ledger, is delivering an important message, I would say. Quite simply, if you have acquired life-changing wealth in crypto, sell it, or at least some of it. And it's all subjective. Everyone's situation is a little bit different here, but it's a topic worth discussing and very interesting. I'll share with you my thoughts along with some comments from the XRP community, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Some people were getting a little bit fiery in a negative way in response to what David Schwartz said here, and I'm just kind of like, whoa, simmer down now. It's okay. I mean, I didn't see anything like ridiculously vicious, but there are some people where I was like, wow, you guys are kind of snapping at David Schwartz on it's just a message from David Schwartz of, hey, be financially responsible. That's pretty much it. He's not saying you absolutely have to do something right now. It's you make your own calls here. He's just kind of giving a friendly little warning here because, look, there are all sorts of people that had huge quantities of XRP, last market cycle in terms of what it would have been worth in United States dollars, that didn't sell. There's one XRP community member who I will not name, but even though he publicly stated after everything crashed, he said, look, I had, I believe the number is something like $660,000 in crypto, and he only sold $100,000 worth before it all crashed because after the bubble popped, he's thinking, we've seen a lot of retracements. It's probably going to go back up, but it was too little, too late. And so there is such a thing. Look, self-interest is one thing, but it is possible to take it too far and enter into a realm of greed that's going to be a disservice to you. Now, I do want to be clear that I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and so you should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos as a fun hobby. That's all that's going on here, and typically about XRP, Ripple, and crypto in general. That's all that it is. And so there was this headline from Decrypt on this topic. Ripple CTO, it's time to seriously consider selling some crypto. Excuse me. Now, rather than go through this article, though, what I did was I pulled up a bunch of tweets from which this article was derived. And not all of this content was in the article, but I wanted to share with you a number of tweets from David Schwartz and some from the XRP community as well. And so this was the one that kicked it off right here. David Schwartz wrote the following. This is probably going to be my least popular tweet ever, but if you have life-changing amounts of cryptocurrency, please take some time to seriously consider selling some to reduce your risk and exposure. This is not any kind of prediction about what the market will do. Yeah, and so that's a reasonable comment. That's perfectly reasonable. That shouldn't be his least popular tweet ever. And actually, frankly, he's gotten 3,400 likes on it. So it can't be that bad, right? I liked it. I personally liked it. But consider this. During the last market cycle, and you will see the same thing again in this market cycle, I firmly believe, there were people up until the point where the bubble was at maximum inflation, like right as it was about to pop, there were people that were calling for higher and higher and higher prices. There always will be people that are calling for that. And it's hard to know who to trust and when to pull money out. So a couple of things on that. First of all, I'm never going to beat myself up for not being able to sell the top. I think that's a fool's game. Just like I couldn't purchase the bottom because there's no way I could have known what the market bottom was going to be for XRP or crypto in general. And so after the bubble popped last market cycle, I started purchasing again when XRP was substantially less than its then all-time high of almost $4. And I first started purchasing, I want to say right around or exactly at 55 cents. And then the price kept tanking, so I bought more at 40 cents and 30 cents and 20 cents. And I didn't worry about that. I knew that I couldn't time the bottom. I knew that years ago, and I still know that today. And so I never beat myself up for that. But I was just betting on at some point, even if it took years, that XRP would be worth substantially more. And now it is. As I record this, XRP today hit $2. And your future people, maybe it's higher or lower at this point. It could blast off higher, it could retrace, whatever. But the point is, it's worth substantially more than when I bought in, even when I bought in months after the bubble popped at 55 cents. That price is looking pretty good even today right now. But it wasn't looking as good when I purchased at 20 cents and ultimately down to 15 cents, right? And so just like I didn't beat myself up for not being able to not being able to time the bottom, I just dollar cost average in. I'm not going to beat myself up for selling along the way and not knowing where the top is going to be. And this is another reason too, like, and I've talked about this a little bit on my channel, that I'm not setting price goals, really. I'm really not. I can talk about what I hope and think might happen. That's one thing. But as far as, am I setting a price goal or a timeline on which I'm going to sell my XRP? No, I'm actually not. I will sell some along the way. Okay, I'll admit that. So like, it might first happen, maybe I'll sell a little bit around $4 or $5 when XRP hits somewhere around that level, even though I do think it's going to go much higher. But I know enough to know that whatever I think and hope will happen, it won't quite be the case, which is why I want to make sure I get some profit in case I'm disastrously off from what my expectations are. And so the reason, though, also, in addition to that I'm not going to sell, other than maybe some early takings based on price and or timeline, is because I think what makes more sense to look at is just market structure. If we see a chart that starts to look similar to Bitcoin last market cycle, or if we see this blow off top with Bitcoin just running up like crazy, like we saw last market cycle from late November to mid to late December, when it went from Bitcoin went from $10,000 to $20,000, which is its then all time high. If we see something like that where it just ramps up that quickly, that could be a strong indication that the bubble is inflated as it's going to get this market cycle. And so if I see something like that, it might be an indication that it's time to sell. So I'll be looking for something like that, and I know I'm not going to do it perfectly. And if anybody's going to beat you up for saying, "Oh my gosh, you idiot, you sold too soon," well, they're the one that's being the idiot stick, frankly, because they don't know and you don't know. So like they can be like, "Look how much you could have made." Yeah, well, they didn't know either, though. Don't be a jerk about it, And so make the decision that's right for you. But anyway, so XRP community member Kieran Kelly responded to what David Schwartz wrote there and said, "I recall very clearly that you posted a similar tweet in early 2018, a mere days before the whole thing burnt down. The issue us mortals have is we can't see into the future, unlike you, even if you don't know your own powers yet." So he's just had a playful comment there. David Schwartz responded, though, "I definitely was not making any kind of future prediction there. I have no particular sense of what the market is going to do. I wish I did." Yeah, that's clear. He doesn't, just like I don't and you don't, and we're just doing our best here, which is why, to me, dollar cost averaging in makes sense, and selling on the way to the top makes sense also. I have no intention of selling all of my XRP exactly at the tippy top of the market in one dramatic sale. That's completely unrealistic, and I'm not going to do that, and I will not be harsh on myself just because it is a matter of fact that I am not capable of doing that. And you shouldn't be hard on yourself either. You're not capable of that either. You absolutely are not. And so in response to that initial tweet, another XRP community member, Stephen Bulldeep, wrote the following: "David, what if you sell and you miss the next 10x run-up? We don't know where is the top or bottom. When you sell, there is 50% chance you are right and 50% chance you are wrong. But there is 100% chance that the dollar is falling to infinity." And hey, fair enough. I'll give him that on as far as the United States dollar being debased. Yeah, that's just it's getting just printed into oblivion. David Schwartz responded and wrote, "I know it's agonizing. I'm obviously happy with the results I've gotten, but by nature would prefer to be taking much less risk. If I hadn't sold my ETH for $42,000, it'd be $90 million now." And so look, you can take that into account. And he acknowledges, that he now wishes that he hadn't sold all of his ETH. But still, you can go too far in either direction. And so he made that. I think he'd probably consider that a mistake. It's probably fair to characterize it that way. And so what he's saying now is, I think that he's learned from experience. And I think I had another tweet up from him that made me think that's pretty much what he's trying to convey. But you make mistakes. It doesn't mean that invalidates your future opinions. It means that you've gained wisdom here. And so somebody named David responded to David. Somebody named David else responded to David Schwartz and wrote, "Hindsight is an MFer." And David Schwartz responded and wrote, "Exactly. When I initially planned my de-risking strategy with my wife, the idea of Bitcoin being over $10,000 was comically absurd. XRP at 10 cents seemed like a total victory. I wish I had thought bigger back then." Yeah, because think about that. So he's saying XRP at 10 cents would have been a total victory, and now it's around $2. But for most of the early time of XRP's life, it was trading in the neighborhood of half a penny, plus or minus. So even from half a penny, you're looking at 20-fold increase to 10 cents. Which 20-fold increase is big, but now it's obviously gone way, way, way beyond that. And then there was this. Okay, so then after David Schwartz wrote, if I hadn't sold my Ethereum for $42,000, it would be $90 million now. Somebody named Ocean Trick responded with the following. He wrote, then it sounds like you are the last person to be giving investment advice. And so I read that and I thought, well, we're all entitled to our own opinions, but I read that and I thought, well, no, I mean, making mistakes in life, it allows for wisdom, right? And then on top of that, there's just this idea of like, even if you have wisdom, you're never going to do all this perfect anyway. So I don't know. That's not a comment that I would have written anyway. David Schwartz then wrote, not if you only have to make every mistake once. Exactly. Wisdom is to be had, right? So keep some exposure, right? Maybe. And so, and then there was this. In response to the initial tweet saying, hey, if you've got life-changing wealth from crypto, consider selling, somebody wrote, define life-changing. And David Schwartz did respond to that and wrote, it's specific to your situation. But if you have $100,000 worth of cryptos you bought for $5,000 and have $40,000 in student loan debt and $4,500 in the bank, I'd say maybe think about getting rid of that loan debt. And then he writes, of course, if you sell too much too fast, the IRS gets lots. Yeah, especially if you, in the United States, if you haven't held for at least a year, because there's the whole capital gains tax situation. But you should talk to an accountant about that stuff. And so for me, I will just say, like, my gosh, with what's happened with XRP and also crypto in general, because I hold a number of different cryptocurrencies. I was just always thinking of XRP, especially lately because it's been rocketing up in price. But like my net worth as a result of all of this has increased dramatically. And I'm not going to say specifics in regards to that, but still for me, I'm going to wait until this goes higher. And the reason being is structurally where we're at in the market cycle, I just don't think that we're at the top yet. I think that we've got a good bit to go. But I don't know what the timeline will be, and I don't know what the prices will be. And so I'm just looking at the market structure itself instead to help guide me there. And hopefully I do a reasonable job. And if not, maybe I lose everything, right? But that's the way that I'm looking at it right now. And so everybody out there just has to decide for themselves what they think makes sense there. And so then there was the following. Here we go. So in response to that initial tweet, somebody named Beyond the Moon retweeted a tweet, or actually, I guess maybe just, what do you call it? Just shared an old tweet of David Schwartz from April 21st, 2019. And so here's David Schwartz's tweet from April 21st, 2019. I sold all my Ethereum, $40,000 worth, to put solar panels on my house right before the start of the run that would have made that worth $40 million or so. I felt like an investment genius when I did it, pocketing a decent profit and ending all risk. And so that was a big profit compared to where you bought in at. And so even at that point, it would have already been worth $40 million, and then today, over $90 million. And so David Schwartz, in response to that, wrote, I still can't really understand why I sold all of it. I guess I was thinking it would go back down and I'd buy back in, but it didn't. You can regret taking too little risk too, of course. Yeah, and so that's why for me, if I were actually going to sell all of my XRP this market cycle, it would have to be at a point where, for me personally, it's like this is too good a deal to pass, and I'll have to know, and that's if I do this, I would have to be okay with, even if it goes like 10, 20, 30x from there, and I don't get to enjoy that, then I'll just have to be okay with it, because I'll be like, nope, this was adequate for me, and I removed the risk, I can sleep easy, all that stuff, and maybe, so like, we all have our price, right? What would mine be? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I guess if XRP really does get up into the $30 region or something like that, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Plus, in subsequent market cycles, maybe it does anyway, but I'm more so talking about this market cycle. So, yeah, you could take too much risk or too little risk, and it's going to be messy. It's not going to be perfect. And so I'm just saying, do your best to make your own decisions and don't beat yourself up for whatever happens, because you're not capable of doing this cleanly and perfectly. It's just not going to happen. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, but I'll wrap up here. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.